We're going to dive into transformation, from the spark of player passion to the blaze of global change. I'm going to be joined on stage by Kirk Musngi. He's the Senior Community Manager of Education and Social Impact at Unity. Darcy Gutierrez, who is both an alumni and a current faculty member at Urban Arts. And Sarah Ticho, the founder of Hatsumi. These speakers are going to navigate the vast Unity ecosystem where gamers shed their consumer skins to don the mantle of creators. It's a place where passion fuels creation, and immersive experiences are not just played, but brought to life and shared across the globe. This is where Unity for Humanity comes into play, empowering the new generation to harness their creativity for the greater good. Get ready to be inspired, to learn, and to change the world, one game at a time. Welcome to From Player Passion to Global Impact, a journey of creation, learning, and change. Here they come.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming to our panel. We only have 20 minutes, so I'm going to jump right into it. I'm Kirk Musngi. Thank you for the wonderful intro, Leah. Senior Community Manager at Unity, but today's not about me. It's about these two lovely women. Unity for Humanity, we try our hardest to amplify creator impact, and it's a hard job, even in a big spaceship like Unity, but we have wonderful creators like Sarah and Darcy who really shine bright and really inspire us at our team, because without creators like you two and everybody out in the crowd, we wouldn't have a job, and we really need that after all the Unity news. But yeah, today's panel is just about talking about your stories. Creating for impact is a difficult journey, but it's also a beautiful one. And I think we have two wonderful examples from our Unity for Humanity ecosystem that really inspire and is kind of just a great way to reference your point in your journey, and then listening in on their story and kind of just like feeling inspired today and feeling good. How does that sound? Yeah? Great. So, to my very left, Darcy Gutierrez. We'll start with you, and Sarah, we'll get to you in just a second. But Darcy, I was just at your old school at Urban Arts down the street on West 20. I forgot the address, but shout outs to Urban Arts if you're in this crowd. Yeah. Darcy, you've had a wonderful story. You're BAFTA nominated. You are a wonderful faculty member at Urban Arts, and you make amazing things. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey and how you got here?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Darcy, as wonderfully introduced. Thank you. My experience with Unity really started when I was 16. I was a wee lad. And I was a sophomore in high school, and essentially I was studying traditional art, actually. I was making these huge oil paintings. I was going to art and design high school in Midtown. I was like, wow, I love art. Is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? Question mark. Like, I really loved illustrating. I loved the craft of art, but I felt like I could take it further, and I wanted to explore that. And just at the perfect time, my sophomore illustration teacher, he gave me a flyer. He was like, "You'd like this." I'm like, okay, thanks. I'll go to the info session. And it was for Urban Arts. So ultimately, Urban Arts, for those that may not know, is a nonprofit that really focuses on providing a quality computer science education for free through game design and development. So that experience, ultimately, as a person that I loved playing games, and I just was like, okay, I guess I could do this. I could try it out and figure out maybe this is for me. And immediately the second I got there, I was like, this is it. Like, this is exactly what I was waiting for and hoping and wishing for, because not only was I able to kind of explore a different part of me with programming and just learning that, but also learning that I can also take my visual art further with games. Games was just kind of the perfect outlet for me. Yeah. And ultimately just the community of Urban Arts and understanding that games was the outlet that I really needed for myself, just was perfect for me, especially as a person who, I'm born and raised in New York City, in Brooklyn. Especially, for most of my life, I grew up in the Brownsville projects, which for those that may not know is just kind of one of the worst in the city. And growing up there, the opportunities were kind of like, oh, here is a babysitting job. Here is the McDonald's down the street needs help. And it felt very limiting. Like, I walked into the lobby of my building that used to kind of be an old tenement building. It was just like, I feel like I'm stuck. And I want to have the freedom to explore and figure out what possibilities there are for me. And that's where urban arts really came in. Ultimately, that moment in my life really opened up the understanding that the education that I received at urban arts was very rare. It was very rare, and I'm extremely privileged to have gotten that experience for free. And ultimately, I'm now working there at Urban Arts because I'm so passionate about providing those opportunities for more and more students, especially knowing, like, I love games so much, and I know that the industry is a bit closed at the moment, but providing this accessibility to learning about how to make games and how to create experiences is one of a kind. And accessibility to that is so important. So I love being a teacher and being there for my students to give them the same opportunities that I got as well.
That's amazing. And you bring up a good point, because right now the industry at large is in a weird spot. How do you talk to your students and, like, kind of inspire them, but also stay real with them? Because making impact itself is just a difficult journey through games, but then the games industry is not in the greatest place right now. So how do you work with that?
The industry definitely is in a rough spot right now, and I know a lot of my students definitely talk to me about it. One thing that I know and I want to make sure to tell them is that we cannot control everything that's happening outside of our lives. We could not have ever predicted, like, what was going on in the industry or how it would be where it is right now, but it's important. I'd like to make sure that my students know that they should just keep doing what they love. If you love what you're doing, keep making games. You have to keep making the thing that you love, because ultimately you never know what the opportunities will be moving forward. You can't control the matters that are outside of you, but you can control the way that you react to it and how you respond to what's going on. Yeah. So ultimately, keep pushing forward.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling your story, Darcy.
Thank you.
Sarah, hello, hello.
Hi.
Are you ready to start your freestyle battle with me?
Oh, God.
It's all right.
Definitely not.
Okay, cool. We don't have the hip hop gamer here to judge, so we can't do it.
We had our 8 Mile moment before we came on stage.
So Sarah, lovely to finally meet you in person in New York City. I've gotten to know you the past few days, but for the crowd, can you tell a little bit about your work? Sarah has a lovely project out in the arcade called Soul Paint. If you haven't gotten to try it, it's amazing. I want to spend like a couple hours just drawing in VR. Also, fun fact, so during the time that Rosario Dawson was collaborating with us for Unity for Humanity, I heard the story where you were like, hey, Unity, I heard Rosario Dawson is dope. Do you think Rosario could help us out? And it worked out, and Rosario lent her voice to Soul Paint, and that was kind of cool.
It was really cool.
It was really cool. So can you,
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Clap for Rosario.
So could you tell us a little about your story and how you got to where you are right now?
Yeah, all right. Winding right back. So
Mom spaghetti.
Mom spaghetti. So I just wanted to be an anthropologist growing up. I just think people are really fascinating. So that's what I studied at university. And I guess it was just as I was graduating, my dad died of pancreatic cancer. And God, it was, awful. And I think particularly that for it to happen at that moment when you're just kind of being released from academia into the world, where you're like, what do I do with my life? So I worked for the National Health Service very briefly and just kind of came home crying every day because it was so hard. Also, like, this was 2013 and everyone was faxing, which is wild. And I started volunteering in a gallery in Brighton in the UK, where I'm from, called Fabrica. And it's like an old church, and they commission site-specific installations. And that was like my introduction to immersive art. And I just loved being in this space and people would just tell me what these installations meant to them and how it related to their own stories. And I think that was kind of my introduction into immersive, is kind of having these things that really can start conversations between people. So a few years later, I was really struggling. I think like grief does funny things to you, and I was like a little inside-out hedgehog that didn't really know how to deal with things. So I had what was, I guess, described as a psychotic episode, and I was actually in a doctor's office, kind of being palmed off on antipsychotics and being like, I think I'm just grieving. Like, I think I just need a hug. And apparently the statistic is on average you have about 11 seconds to describe how you feel to a healthcare professional before you're likely to be interrupted. And so I became really fascinated in how we can find new ways of telling stories and finding new ways of being heard. And I became really interested in VR as like a kind of beautiful metaphor for things like psychosis, and amazing projects that now exist like Goliath that really take you onto this world by Anagram. Please check it out, I think they're great. So I started learning a little bit about VR, and not just how it was being used to tell stories about lived experience, but how it can be used therapeutically as well. I ended up moving to Australia. I worked at a place called the School of Life for a little bit. I then got fired from the School of Life. And that's when I decided to kind of start my career in this space. And I met these incredible researchers from a place called the Black Dog Institute that have been using this amazing arts and health method called body mapping, which is this really amazing process where traditionally you would trace around your body on a large piece of paper and go through a mindfulness experience and kind of imagine, like, where do I feel anxiety in my body, or where do I feel pain, and how might you draw that? And I'm just really bad at drawing, but I'd love things like tilt brush, where you can fly through space and paint with fire, and it's just so emotive and empowering. And so I was like, how can we turn this into an immersive experience? So it's actually been about 7 years of developing it now, but I've been working with amazing co-production studio Monobanda based in the Netherlands, and my co-director Nikki Smith, who's been working in games and health for a long time. So we also work on Deep, which is a breath control game for anxiety regulation, and have been creating this process where we really embed scientists into that process and kind of have this artist-led approach, but where we have academics situated within the design context as well. So Soul Paint is currently a one-off narrative experience where you get to illustrate where you feel different emotions in your body. You get to describe it, you get to embody it and dance with it, and then you get to meet the drawings of other people that have gone through the experience as well. So yeah, Unity really helped us with our funding, and yeah, flipping Rosario, my goodness. He just totally transformed the piece. Yeah. And yeah, so this is a sort of example of, I guess, what we want to do with the piece, but what we want to do now is turn it into this embodied journaling experience where you can create an artwork every day, that you can share it with your friends, that you can take it to your care provider and say, I'm feeling pain here, what's up with that? And looking at how that can support in the diagnostic process, but also looking at how it can be used in preventative care. So we've just finished a big study at a library in the UK around how it can be used in starting conversations with the public around mental health and being able to create referrals into the NHS. And also I want to do more public installations where we can take the artworks generated in the piece and create terracotta armies of lived experience as well.
That's awesome. Give it up for Sarah. We only have 7 minutes left, and I don't think 20 minutes does justice for this panel, because I think you both shared very inspiring stories, but also like the journeys that are so disparate and it takes you to different places. Like for you, Darcy, growing up in Brownsville and seeing where you came from, and like having to find a way to get to urban arts and where you are now. And you know, for you, Sarah, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that story. And I think, you know, I can also relate to some of your experiences. And like, it's not easy to be where you are and get to this. Like, creation is a hard process in itself, but also like working through grief and becoming healthier again is such a beautiful journey in itself. So with 6 minutes left and trying to tie this all together, like, you know, with those disparate journeys and then tying it all up. And then we'll have time, if you see us outside in the hallway and want to talk to me, Darcy, or Sarah, please ask any questions. But the main takeaway for this panel is to just kind of talk about, like, what would you tell someone in the crowd if they were in their journey right now, and knowing your perspectives. Like, do you have any advice in the journey for trying to create your vision and make impact in the world with everything that's going on in your lives? Like, what really helped the most, or what's that one nugget of advice that you can give? And here you go, start.
After you.
Oh, okay. Well, ultimately, I think a creative process is something that's kind of part of oneself a bit, right? It's understanding a little bit about who you are and what speaks to you. Ultimately, I think that the most important thing to do is to just start creating. If you're ever like, oh, I have an idea for a game, but I don't know how it'll turn out, just start. Whatever you have in your brain, just start creating that. Ultimately, if you kind of stay in your mind, my experience is that I always go into loops if I just keep thinking about, oh, this great idea that I, haven't realized yet. It's so important to just go ahead and take the leap, as well as also understanding, it's like, oh, I don't know if other people will like this thing that I'm making. Ultimately, if it speaks to you, it will speak to someone else, right? Ultimately, your experience most likely is something that is shared and that people can resonate with, and that's also important to know, right? Not everyone is also alone in this world. There's people out there that would love to see the things that you create.
Yeah, sorry, Sarah, we'll get to your advice. I saw a sweater walking down the street yesterday in New York City, and the sweater said in the back, "You're afraid of looking dumb in front of everyone, and it's okay." And I wanted to like run a city block to chase that guy, and was like, I need to hear this more often. Please walk in front of me all the time. So as you were talking about that, I just thought of that sweater just now. Sarah, how about you?
Oh, it's a tough act to follow.
You got 4 minutes.
Okay.
This is life-changing advice.
Here we go. Gosh, I mean, it just takes a village, right? Like, there's so many incredible creators that are just like whipping out games by themselves, and it's like, how is so much talent like squeezed into one person? But there are so many different facets to what we're all doing, and it's developing things, it's learning to produce. Wow, like learning on the job is fascinating. Like, learn how to write a budget and pitch and all those different aspects, but also finding the people with the right skills. And I think there's been moments where I've had to acknowledge, like, I can't do it all alone, and that I think things have turned out so much better by finding people that I just love working with, that are just great friends and collaborators. I think just surrounding yourself with people that you want to be around. My favorite little nerdy proverb is, with patience and saliva, the ant devours the elephant.
Oh.
So that's my little word of advice, I guess. Hey. Have lots of saliva and patience, and hopefully it will work out in the end.
Is there a second part of that proverb where it tells you how long the ant eats the...
Years and years. You never stop eating the elephant.
Oh.
But I don't know where this metaphor is going.
No, you're good. You're good. Thank you, too. We have 2 minutes left, and I don't know if I think we have time for maybe one question in the crowd, so I don't know where the microphone is in the crowd, but if someone wants to ask that one question, I think we can take one from the crowd. And also, give it up for Darcy and Sarah. I really appreciate y'all getting on stage and sharing your stories. Or not, we're here all day, but if there's something, anyone? Is everyone taking care of themselves, drinking lots of water? Don't drink too much coffee and lunches. Oh yeah, the water bottle, very helpful. I drank mine with the label inside. Don't do that.
Extra fiber.
Oh, okay. My doctor said so. All right, well, I think that's it. Darcy, Sarah, thank you so much for being wonderful. Thanks to all of you on behalf of Unity. I've been really inspired this weekend, or this week, and I just want to say that thank you, Games for Change, for having us, and I just want to meet all of you, and if you see us outside, say hi. So thank you.
Thanks.